Let's talk about John Elway finally stepping away, NFL executives liking the Chiefs moving away from Orlando Brown Jr. Then look at the social media exchange between Chris Jones and Tyreek Hill after Tyreek issued a bit of a threat, quote unquote, about the upcoming season when the Dolphins play the Chiefs. But first, how about those? All right, first up, there was a clip that surfaced on Mahomes' Instagram of him getting some work in already with wide receiver MVS, one of many connections like this to follow during the season. I can promise you that. And then George Karlaftis could be seen working once again with Chiefs legend Tambahal Lee, but this time training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which in theory is only going to help George with his hand techniques, and I'm stoked to see how that begins to translate out on the field next season. And then after 16 years and 5 Super Bowl appearances as the Broncos Hall of Fame QB and the team's GM for 10 years with another 2 Super Bowl appearances, and then most recently he was some other things, their president of football operations in 21 and a paid outside consultant to George Paton last season. John Elway's time with the Broncos has officially come to an end, which is a bit bittersweet to me. On one hand, I'm glad he's gone because of all the success he brought the Broncos over the years, a lot of pain. But on the other, I kind of wish he would have stuck around for a bit longer because I personally have enjoyed the Broncos' decline, their absolute downfall over the last handful of years. You know, the team that has gone through 4 head coaches, 11 starting QBs, and 7 losing seasons since Peyton Manning retired after the 2015 season. But alas, we know that all good things must come to an end, and I think Elway and the Broncos both knew it was time to move on, so goodbye, you scooter-riding little man. Now, hopefully Sean Payton doesn't help the Broncos improve too terribly much, but I do think if anyone can help that poor team, it's going to be him, sadly. Anyway, enough of that pathetic organization because we got to talk about something crucially important, and that is updated jersey numbers for the Chiefs' 90-man roster. Give me a break. It's the offseason, okay? You've got offensive tackle Jawan Taylor with 74, defensive end Charles Omenihu is 90, linebacker Drew Tranquil is 23, safety Mike Edwards 21, defensive tackle Byron Cowart 99, wide receiver John Ross, the very, very fast potential sleeper on the roster, 85, running back LaMichael Pirine 29, wide receiver Ty Fry Fogel, love that last name, 13. And then the 2 players with number changes from last season so far are cornerback Trent McDuffie, who is now 22, previously 21 last season, but with the departure of safety Juan Thornhill, McDuffie has opted to go back to 22, which was his number in college. And then another cornerback, Joshua Williams, is now number 2, previously 23, and his reason for switching, I believe, is the same as McDuffie's. Josh Williams wore the number 2 back in college. Now, my question is, with the rule change allowing players to wear the number 0, you know, the same number the Bills have after making 4 Super Bowls in a row, who is going to be switching to this number? Maybe a receiver, a running back, an upcoming draft pick, or maybe even nobody. And then there was an article recently released by The Athletic's Mike Sando. It's paywalled, so don't go look unless you have an Athletic subscription, but he polled executives around the league about what they thought of all 32 NFL teams' additions and losses in free agency over the past several weeks. And regarding the Chiefs, it was interesting to see the perspective of some of these execs who gave their thoughts anonymously, by the way. One said, quote, "I give the Chiefs credit for not franchise tagging Orlando Brown and not spending dollars on him because he was probably the weakest link on their line last year. It seems like they figured out as long as you protect Mahomes, nothing else matters. It is probably true." And then regarding the Bengals signing Orlando, another exec said, quote, "Problem is, I think Brown is a right tackle. I think he played his best football in Baltimore's system because he was protected," meaning Lamar Jackson could get out of trouble at any point in time. And honestly, same with Patrick Mahomes, who was possibly the most pressured QB in the league last year and had the lowest pressure to sack ratio. But I digress because the exec continues saying, in terms of being a true blue chip left tackle, I don't see it, but he could look better in Cincy because Burrow gets the ball out faster than Patrick Mahomes. End quote. And that last part is definitely true. Burrow is top 5 in fastest release times in the NFL, and that will indeed, or in theory, help Orlando out a bit. Either way, I wish Orlando the best, and now we look to see if the Chiefs indeed plan to move Jawan Taylor to the left side, or are they going to snag a tackle early in the draft to play on the left and keep Taylor on the right side? That's what I want to know. I mean, Taylor did say he's ready to do whatever is asked of him, and the Chiefs believe he's athletic enough to make the switch, so I don't think they will go into the draft thinking we have to draft a left tackle, or else I truly think the Chiefs are comfortable enough for Juwan to move to the left, and even though they will more than likely draft a tackle, it may not be in round 1 because of their confidence in this man. Anyway, on the subject of NFL execs and this Mike Sando article, one said this about why Lamar Jackson still doesn't have a deal done with the Ravens or any other team for that matter. Quote, as for the idea of collusion by league owners against the next fully guaranteed deal, if Patrick Mahomes were in Lamar's shoes, he would have 30 offer sheets all guaranteed, end quote. So this goes against the idea that the league is colluding against Lamar to prevent a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson from becoming the norm, basically saying, nah, there's no collusion. For example, if this was Patrick Mahomes, teams would be willing to pay a fully guaranteed deal. No freaking problem. However, Lamar just isn't that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Or at least that's what I took out of this exec's comment. And I could understand some teams' hesitations to, want to pay Lamar that much money, or at least what he's allegedly asking in guarantees based on a few things, his play style, injury history, and maybe not being the most accurate QB in the game, but he's still a top 8 QB in the league, and any team signing him would benefit instantly from his talents. And on the subject of talent, we got to talk about Chris Jones and his recent back and forth with Tyreek on social media because, times are slow and it was a pretty funny exchange. But first, here's some background on what led to this moment. Tyreek recently hopped on a podcast with former Chiefs wide receiver Garrett Dieter and fullback Anthony the Sausage himself, Sherman, and they talked about a variety of things, including Tyreek's most memorable season in KC, which he said was his rookie year.
And then just having that moment on the football field when the fans was going crazy. The Oakland Raider game when it was like, Tyreek, Tyreek. You talk about chills.
I mean, they chanted Tyreek and he took it to the house.
Yeah. Bruh.
He took that punt return to the house.
No cap, bruh. I think I cried, bruh. Like,
Tyreek then said no matter what happens with the Chiefs receiving core this offseason, he's confident in Mahomes and Coach Reid to make magic happen regardless.
You got the best quarterback in the NFL. You got the best tight end in the NFL. And then you got one of the best offensive play callers in the league. Like, they can do whatever they want to, man, with it. You feel me?
Tyreek then shared a pretty hilarious story about Mahomes hitting him in the face in the locker room on more than one occasion and how he still wants payback for that.
Funny story about Pat, bro. You remember in the locker room when I was sitting at my locker and Pat threw that ball and hit me in my face? I was so mad at Pat, bro.
Didn't he shoot you with a dart too?
Yeah, he shot me with a dart, bro. He shot me right in my face, Pat, bro. I know you gonna hear this, bro, but I'm gonna beat your ass, bro. I'm gonna beat your ass. Bro.
Obviously, he was joking around at the end there, so don't get your pitchforks out just yet. Tyreek also said the Chiefs need to extend Chris Jones no matter what, then mentioned he plans on retiring after his contract concludes with the Dolphins to focus on the business side of things. He mentioned gaming and some other stuff, but not going to go into those details. But before the podcast ended, this is where it all started between him and Chris Jones because Tyreek cut Dieter off at the end of this podcast and said,
I got one thing to say, though, before I go.
Go ahead.
Chiefs Kingdom, when the Miami Dolphins come to Arrowhead Stadium this year, guess what we gonna do? I hate to say it, man. I hate to throw up the peace sign against y'all. I hate to do it. But guess what? I'm gonna be y'all worst enemy that day.
We'll edit that out. We'll just get rid of that. We won't even let anyone hear that.
You better change the signals. I know every signal y'all got.
And a lot of people did not like that because a clip of this was released on social media with absolutely no context of before or after, ironically from Tyreek's own Soul Runner account. Believe it or not. But then, when you look at the full-length interview, as well as the clip directly after this, it was nothing more than some fun back-and-forth banter.
What if Sherm comes in, arrests you on the sideline?
Work for hire. Just let me know.
I'm playing, bro. I'm playing.
No.
So yeah, it was all in good fun. However, articles ran with the segment and headlines such as, quote, Tyreek Hill promises to be Chiefs' worst enemy when Dolphins visit, end quote, which on the outside looks like, whoa, what the heck is Tyreek's problem again about Kansas City? And Chris Jones caught wind of these articles and simply replied saying, may God bless him, which is an absolutely perfect response because it's pretty much exactly what he said when mic'd up in the Super Bowl during the coin toss after Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham said,
Y'all boys come out 5D, we 3D, what's up?
And then Chris Jones responded by saying,
May God bless you.
And after Chris said what he said to Tyreek, may God bless him, Reek then shot back, he has blessed me, but I'm a crack block you too little, which obviously is a troll comment because Chris Jones would 1000% Hulk smash little man Reek into another dimension, but Chris rolled with it, ending the conversation with, quote, "The only peace sign he'd throwing up is walking to the bus after the game," which is more than likely what is going to happen. The Dolphins lose the game, and Tyreek pieces out of Arrowhead with another L, one of many he took when signing with the Dolphins, aside from his wallet and building generational wealth for his family. Anyway, it was all in good fun. And with that being said, let me know your thoughts on the lighthearted exchange between both of these legends. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?